and we are here to talk about women that have inspired me to become myself. I feel like my mom has always kind of been my rock. The first person I called when I got hurt this year was my mom. I'm like, can you fly here and cook me a meal and just spend time with me? And that is just the person that makes you feel.
Okay, so Caitlin Clark just dropped something we've literally never seen before. And I'm not talking about another brand deal or some quick Instagram story. This is her opening up in a way that's got everyone talking for completely different reasons, because what she reveals in this interview explains so much about what happened this season that nobody could figure out. You're probably thinking this is just another fluff piece, right? Wrong. What comes out in the next few minutes is going to make you rethink everything you thought you knew about her rookie year. The struggles, the pressure, the way she completely disappeared from social media for weeks at a time. But here's what blew my mind and what everyone's missing in the comments. She drops these little breadcrumbs throughout this interview that, when you connect them, paint a completely different picture of what was really going on behind the scenes in Indianapolis.
Mom has always kind of been my rock. The first person I called when I got hurt this year was my mom. I'm like, can you fly here and cook me a meal and just spend time with me? And that is just the person that makes you feel safe. And I probably took that for granted as a kid, but my mom always made the best meals. I think it's important to take time for yourself. And I think also when I do have free time, one of my escapes is cooking a healthy meal for myself, whether that's, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I really do enjoy that. Just putting on music and making a home cooked meal. And I think that's because it feels like a safe place for myself, because that's kind of what I grew up on.
Did you catch that? Can you fly here and cook me a meal and just spend time with me? That's not just some sweet mother-daughter moment. That's someone reaching a breaking point, and the timing of when this happened. We'll get to that in a second. But first, you need to understand what was going on in her life when she made that phone call. Because here's the thing. Nobody's talking about how Caitlin went from being the most accessible superstar in college basketball to basically going dark for months. Her fans were begging for content, for tweets, for anything, and everyone assumed she was just overwhelmed or her team told her to pull back. But what she's revealing here is way deeper than that. She wasn't pulling back from fans. She was trying to find safety. That word she uses. Safe place, that's not casual language. That's someone who felt completely exposed and vulnerable in a way she never experienced at Iowa. And get this, the way she connects cooking to feeling safe. That's a coping mechanism. When someone talks about needing to recreate childhood comfort in the middle of their professional career, that tells you everything about the pressure they're under.
Now that they're out the gate, her mama. See, we never knew that. We never knew when Caitlin Clark got hurt. She got on the phone, Mom, I need you to come up here and spend some time with me, cook for me, just help me out. Shocking. See, Caitlin, it's stuff like this that's going to keep the fans engaged. I love this. I don't know if her agent was behind this, but this is just a different like of Caitlin Clark. This is something we never seen of her. I'm loving this content so far. Let's finish watching it, bro. I like this.
Now listen to how she talks about Lisa Blutter, because this is where the story gets really interesting. She doesn't just say great coach or throw out some generic praise. She talks about cancer survivors, about perspective, about understanding what basketball means to other people. You know what that is? That's someone realizing they lost something fundamental about why they play the game. Think about IT at AT Iowa. She had this constant reminder that basketball was bigger than stats and highlights. She had a coach who made sure the team understood their impact on real people's lives. Then she gets to Indiana, and suddenly it's all about adding muscle mass, changing her position, fitting into systems that don't make sense for her game. The Fever organization basically took everything that made her special and tried to reshape it. And here's what's crazy. She's not saying this directly. She can't. But listen to the contrast in her voice when she talks about Iowa versus when she talks about her rookie season. One makes her light up, the other, she keeps it professional, keeps it safe.
My partnership with Lilia.
See, that there. Now, I did a video earlier today. You guys might not know this. I did a video earlier today speaking about Lisa Blutter. Lisa Blutter sat down with Sarah Spain, and that was the video I did before this one, and she shedded a bunch of stuff on Caitlin Clark that we just did not know. Stuff that I feel we needed to know, to kind of help strengthen up the fan base. We know we all have been critical of the Caitlin Clark era and the Caitlin Clark fans' hype, I should feel like.
Okay, but hold up. Did you notice what just happened there? She pivoted straight from talking about cancer survivors and perspective to talking about her Lily partnership. That's not random editing. That's her brain making a connection between meaning and business. And this is where everyone's getting it wrong about Caitlin Clark. People keep saying she's just chasing bags, that she's lost touch with what made her special. But what she's actually revealing here is that she's trying to find partnerships that feel meaningful in a world that suddenly feels completely transactional. At Iowa, everything had purpose. Every game meant something to the community. Every win was shared with people who'd been supporting the program for years. Then she gets drafted, and suddenly it's about jersey sales and social media metrics and whether she's tweeting enough to keep engagement up. The Lily partnership makes sense to her because it's local. It's Indianapolis. IT connects to something real instead of just being another national brand trying to capitalize on her name. She's literally trying to rebuild that sense of community and purpose she had in Iowa, but in a professional environment that doesn't naturally create those connections.
Lisa Bluter, dropping jewels. Let's get back to this.
I think, more than anything, first of all, they care about women's sports, which is incredibly important to me. And now getting to play in Indianapolis and them being based here, it feels like a pretty natural partnership. On our jerseys, we wear the Lily patch, so I feel pretty lucky and fortunate to be able to work with them. Maya Moore was definitely my favorite basketball player growing up, male or female. Getting to meet her and watch her play in a game for the first time is probably one of the greatest memories of my life.
Now, this Maya Moore section, this is where everything clicks into place because listen to what she's really saying here. She's not just talking about meeting her hero. She's talking about someone who took time out of their day to come and support you. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like someone who feels abandoned. Think about her rookie season. Where were the WNBA legends showing up to her games? Where were the veterans taking her under their wing? Instead, she got physical play that crossed lines. She got criticized for bringing too much attention to the league. She got blamed for everything from TV ratings to ticket prices. Maya Moore became her childhood hero because Maya represented something pure about basketball, team culture, being a team player, not just individual stats and highlight reels. And here's what's devastating: Caitlin's trying to be that same person, but the environment won't let her. The fever kept taking her off ball. They made her add muscle that changed her. Shooting mechanics. They put her in situations where she had to be more selfish just to be effective. Everything that made her special at Iowa, the passing, the team-first mentality, the joy, got stripped away in favor of professional development. And when she talks about winners never quit, that's not just about Mia Hamm. That's about herself. That's her telling everyone she's not giving up, even though this season broke her in ways nobody fully understands yet.
And when Maya Moore did come and watch me at Iowa, it was a surprise. She was sitting courtside, and just to have somebody you grew up wanting to be like take time out of their day to come and support you. And she was inducted to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, and like the way she talked about like team culture and how much that meant to her, and being a team player and how impactful that can be on your life is so true. And being on teams that have been really good, like how true that is and how much that meant to her. And throughout the course of her career, like it's just an easy person to be able to
see what's happening here. She's connecting her entire origin story to inspiration and giving back. The women's soccer team inspired her to want to play in the first place, to work hard, to achieve everything. But here's the brutal irony. She became exactly what those women were to her. She became the inspiration for millions of young girls. She sold out arenas. She had kids screaming her name and wearing her jersey. She achieved everything she worked for, and it almost destroyed her because nobody prepared her for what happens when you become the inspiration, when you're the one everyone's watching, when your bad games get dissected on national television, when other players target you because you represent everything they wish they had. The pressure of being what Maya Moore and Mia Hamm were, that's not just inspiring, that's suffocating. Especially when you're 22 years old and trying to figure out who you are beyond basketball. And check this out. She says, "I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for them." But where is here exactly? Is it playing in sold-out arenas? Or is it calling your mom begging her to fly out and cook you a meal because you need to feel safe? Now, here's what makes this interview so important and what everyone's missing. This isn't Caitlin Clark doing some calculated PR move. This is someone trying to reconnect with why they fell in love with basketball in the first place. Look at what she chose to talk about. Not her stats, not her Rookie of the Year campaign, not the playoffs or the Olympic team drama. She talked about her mom, her college coach, her childhood heroes, the books she read before bed as a kid. That's someone trying to remember. Who they were before the pressure, before the criticism, before every single thing they did became content for millions of people to analyze and judge. And the timing of this, right after one of the most brutal rookie seasons any superstar has ever had to endure. She got physical play that would have gotten flagrant fouls in any other era. She got blamed for bringing too much attention to the league. She got criticized for not being vocal enough about social issues while simultaneously being told to just shut up and play basketball. The mental gymnastics required just to survive that season would break most people, and what everyone keeps demanding from her is more tweets, more engagement, more access, more vulnerability. But here's what this interview reveals. She's already given everything. She's already opened herself up completely. And what she got back was a rookie season that forced her to call her mom and beg for comfort food just to feel human again. The question isn't whether Caitlin Clark needs to do more. The question is whether we've already asked too much. Let me break down what's really happening here, because there's a bigger pattern that everyone's missing. Caitlin Clark is trying to navigate something that no basketball player has ever had to deal with at this scale. Think about it. LeBron had pressure, sure, but he came into the league in a different era. Social media wasn't this intense. The 24/7 news cycle wasn't this brutal. And most importantly, he wasn't carrying the weight of an entire gender fight for recognition and respect. Caitlin isn't just trying to be a great basketball player. She's trying to be the face of women's basketball. The proof that women's sports deserve equal attention. The example for millions of young girls. The cash cow for a league that desperately needs stars. The social media personality that keeps engagement up. The brand ambassador for multiple companies. The role model who says the right things about every social issue. Oh, and also she's supposed to just play basketball and be happy about it. The cognitive dissonance is insane. She's supposed to be grateful for all the attention while also being criticized for bringing too much attention. She's supposed to speak up for women's sports while also staying humble and not making it about herself. She's supposed to engage with fans constantly while also maintaining privacy and mental health boundaries. And when she talks about cooking as her escape, that's not just about food. That's about control. When everything else in your life is being managed by agents and teams and sponsors and media obligations, cooking is something you can control completely. You choose the ingredients, you decide the timing, you create something that's just for you. Now, here's where this gets really interesting, and this is what's going to determine everything about her second season. She's clearly trying to get back to basics, back to what made her special, back to Iowa, metaphorically speaking, but can she actually do that? Can you go back to being the hometown hero when you're now a national figure? Can you recreate that sense of community and purpose when you're playing for a franchise that's still figuring out how to build around you? The Fever's off-season moves are going to tell us everything. Are they going to let Caitlin be Caitlin? Are they going to build a system that highlights her passing and her court vision? Are they going to surround her with players who understand how to play with a generational talent? Or are they going to keep trying to force her into being something she's not? Keep adding muscle, keep taking her off ball, keep making her fit into systems that don't make sense for her game. Because here's what this interview reveals. Caitlin knows who she is. She knows what made her great. She knows what she needs to be successful. The question is whether the organization is going to listen, and if they don't, if they keep trying to reshape her into their vision instead of building around her strengths, we might be watching the slow suffocation of one of the greatest talents basketball has ever seen. That's not hyperbole. That's what happens when you take someone special and try to make them normal, when you take someone who changed the game and try to make them fit into how the game has always been played. Let me show you something that's going to blow your mind. Go back and watch Caitlin's face when she talks about Iowa versus when she talks about Indianapolis. The difference is stark. Iowa, her whole face lights up. She smiles naturally. Her voice has energy and joy. She talks about cancer, survivors, and team culture and the impact they had on people's lives. That's someone remembering when basketball felt pure. Indianapolis. She's professional, measured, careful. She talks about partnerships and sold-out crowds and young kids wearing her jersey. All good things, right? But listen to her voice. That's obligation talking. That's someone going through the motions of gratitude, because that's what you're supposed to do. And this is the trap that nobody's talking about. Caitlin achieved everything she dreamed of. She made it to the WNBA. She's a star. She's got endorsement deals. She's inspiring the next generation. She should be on top of the world. But somewhere between Iowa and Indianapolis, between college and professional, between being Caitlin and being Caitlin Clark. She lost something fundamental. She lost the joy, and you can't fake joy. You can't manufacture it. You can't will it into existence. Joy comes from feeling safe enough to be yourself, from being in environments where you're valued for who you are, not just what you can do, from having people around you who care about you as a person, not just as a product. When she called her mom begging for a home-cooked meal, that wasn't about food. That was about trying to feel like herself again, trying to remember who Caitlin is when she's not performing for millions of people. Now, here's what's going to determine whether Caitlin Clark becomes the GOAT or becomes another cautionary tale about pressure-breaking young stars. It all comes down to one thing: boundaries. Can she learn to protect herself while still being accessible? Can she give fans enough without giving everything? Can she be the face of women's basketball without carrying the entire weight of the sport on her shoulders? Because right now, she's trying to be everything to everyone, and that's impossible. You can't be the perfect role model and the relatable girl next door, and the fierce competitor, and the gracious loser, and the humble winner, and the social media personality and the private person all at the same time. Something has to give, and what this interview suggests is that she's starting to figure out what that something is. She's starting to prioritize what actually matters: family, authentic connections, purpose beyond just basketball. But here's the scary part: the world doesn't want her to have boundaries. Fans want unlimited access. Media wants constant content. Sponsors want maximum exposure. The league wants her to be the face of everything, and when she pulls back even slightly, people get angry. They say she's not doing enough, not engaging enough, not appreciating her platform enough. That's the impossible situation she's in. She's damned if she does and damned if she doesn't. Too accessible and she'll burn out. Not accessible enough, and people say she's lost touch with her roots. Let me connect something that's going to make everything click. Remember when she talked about Lisa Blooder bringing in cancer survivors and understanding the impact they had on people's lives? That wasn't just a nice memory. That was Caitlin telling us exactly what she's missing right now. She's missing perspective. She's missing that constant reminder that basketball is bigger than stats and highlights and social media engagement. At Iowa, she had built-in perspective. She had a coach who made sure the team understood their role in the community. She had fans who'd been supporting the program for decades, not just jumping on the bandwagon. She had a system that valued her for who she was, not just what she could become. Indianapolis doesn't have that yet. The fever is still building. The fan base is still developing. The organization is still figuring out how to handle having a generational talent. Everything feels transactional because everything is new, and that's not anyone's fault. That's just the reality of being a young franchise trying to build around a superstar, but it means Caitlin's trying to create meaning and purpose in an environment that doesn't naturally provide it. That's exhausting. That's why she needs her mom to fly out and cook for her. That's why she's doing interviews like this, trying to reconnect with her origin story. That's why she keeps talking about Iowa and Lisa Blooder and Maya Moore. She's not living in the past. She's trying to bring the lessons of the past into her present so she can survive her future. Now, here's what's going to happen next, and this is where you need to pay attention because this affects way more than just Caitlin Clark. She's going to have to make a choice. Keep trying to be